I did a year for the work of probation, and then I have a year. It's all for it's 119. Oh, and it's in the back. But I need it.
Yeah, I just too.
Yes.
You gotta eat more grants.
Well, I've got information about how much my grants are in here. I don't have the grant. Maybe just, I don't get this.
We got it.
But I put this one in there. It's in here.
August 13th, 2025, with our reconvene our budget hearings. First thing on the agenda is circuit court.
I gave everybody a packet that might make things easier. It's got some information about circuit court, so we've got at least one new person. And so currently we have 506 open cases that break down there. Those open cases don't count anything that is like after people divorce, child support, parenting time, any of that. Doesn't include any requests for modification of criminal sentence, or probation, revocation filings, or juvenile probation hearings that reviews are required to do. And then the state has some child support cases that we do reviews in what we call child and needy services cases, and juvenile cases, guardianships, we have counties. So those don't count for any of those kinds of hearings. In addition to the public defender fees that go back into the general fund, unlike what I heard last night, Monday night, there's a number of repayments that people get that don't go back into the fund, which it came to push directly back into the general fund. But in addition to that, circuit court in 2024 ordered $210,241 in court fees, repayments, and costs, and that's up about $50,000 from 2023. We worked with Circuit Superior Court and get reimbursed 40% of felony public defender fees, and as I said, that goes back into the general fund. It does not go back into our PD fund. And then through Judge Coker's court mostly, we are part of the misdemeanor pilot program that I'm sure Judge Coker's going to talk about. Circuit Court handles level 4 felonies and above. So I have all of the higher felonies. I have all of the juveniles. That's juveniles on probation, child and youth services cases, termination of parental rights cases. I also have all the level 5 felonies that involve children. As I said, both courts do divorces, estates, guardianships, some small things. Our trials, though, because we have those higher felonies, require 12 jurors. I always pick at least 2 alternates, and we frequently use those alternates. Our trials tend to run about 3 days, and we have some that are currently set for 5 days. We've got one set for 5 days this fall. Level 6 felonies, misdemeanors require 6 people and alternates. But for each of those jurors, we have to feed them when they're there. We have to pay them mileage to and from court, even when it's the pool of jurors we're picking from. So when we call 100 jurors, because we've got 120 jurors, because we have an attempted murder case, we have to pay each one of those people mileage at the rate that the state sets. We also have to pay them for the day that they're there, and then if they are picked as a juror, we have to pay each of them mileage and juror fees that have gone up for each of those days. We do have 4 grants. We have a problem-solving court. So that diverts people from jail. They get very intensive services. We see them twice a month. Staff sees them more often than that. that's allowing the lowest census of Pulaski County prisoners that the jail has had in a long time. I think the sheriff said the other day that 50 people in that Taylor jail are prisoners at night. So that allows him to have federal housing and to get paid, the county gets paid for that. Plus, it makes people's lives better. Everybody who's there heard, of course, Steve talked about the success we had with one of our graduates. Jen had a friend, she can't leave this morning, she would probably roll in late, but she administers that for us. Those grants, all of these grants, with the exception of the 4E, we do reports directly to the Indiana Office of Services and Maintenance and counties and specific amounts that are paid. We just graduated 3 people. We have another 2 that are probably graduating next month. And there is, out of the 9 graduates that we have had 1 reapply. And so that's really good. Overall in Indiana, there's about 29% recidivism rate. And so to have 1 out of 9 shows that it's our JDAI, it started out as Juvenile Detention Alternatives Initiative. And they have changed what they do, and now we're working with all kinds of youth at risk. It's all grant funded. Ms. Schaefer administers that as well. We have a truancy program at both schools. 33 families were served this last year with only a 4% re-referral for truancy locked in 12 months. So that's really working well. And one of the reasons that we don't use any county funds for that is because we partner with Force and Health for that. We're working on a youth substance abuse program. I'm sure that if you didn't have your head in the sand, you've heard about Plastic Plates Initiative that we started that is handing out food and backpacks to families and youth that aren't going to have to. Every time we hear budget cuts, it gets cut from feeding kids, right? And so we decided that that was something we should do. The state has approved that. And I've got some stats there that tell us where we are with eligible for free and reduced lunches. Is last year was 55 to 60%, 44 to 57% estimated for this year. And we have planned approximately 17,250 meals to go out. So we're very happy with that. Ms. Brock administers our CASA grant. She is in our budget. The county has paid for her salary through the years. It's required for us to have a CASA program and to appoint CASA on every child abuse services and every TPR case. And so we do that, and Ms. Croft is responsible for getting volunteers. And she has a couple of grants that she gets. Sorry, I should have said, Family Treatment Court, we are estimating about $75,000 for this coming year. JDAI, we are estimating about $64,600 this year. That's all in non-reimbursable grants. CASA has $12,500 give or take for the and because there were some prior accounting issues, she has some excess funds that she's going to be able to spend, and we were talking about. Who's else talking about this?
Sure. So because I have some funds that I didn't know I had in the past, we have worked on a kind of grant system where we're allotting X amount of money next year to grant to families in need, and it would be like it would be open to everyone. However, it would be preference to families in need of services cases, treatment court cases, and juvenile cases. So what would happen is, let's say a family needs gas money to go visit their child for supervised parenting time. I would actually fill up their tank. I would not give them any money. I would actually go to the gas station and fill up their tank, and I get reimbursed for that. If they need bedding, A lot of families with bedding or purses that we do with. I can also help with that by ordering those things.
But that would also be accounted then to not only our office and through Teresa, but also downstate that is reported to them. We have two volunteers.
Too, and several that aren't in training right now. So hopefully by the end of the year we have at least 4 more on board, which is great.
And then Ms. Prompt and the very part-time person we have are contracted kids. If we don't have a grant, then we contract employee who's very part-time. We don't have funds for her, and she's aware of that, and we don't pay any benefits for Ms. Prompt at all. In addition to that, I have what I affectionately call a weird grant. It is what technically a federal grant administered by the Office of Court Services. They call it the 4E grant. It's based on public defender fees that are paid in a termination of parental rights case. It usually is about $4,000 a year, but I don't know what that is. I have to appropriate it every time we spend money because I don't know how much is in that, how much we get paid for it. I got a list of reminders for you, just so if you're not aware. But on that page, hiring, we've been pretty successful at hiring people with the actual workable wages, including part-time. We still have humidity as an issue. I was told this week that it is going to be another 15 weeks before we have the humidifier installed, or even here, which is distressing to me because we have a refrigerator equipment, we unplugged it. They came in, took the part through, they put it back together, and now it's working again.
I think that's more of a commissioner.
Well, it is, but you need to know that that is what.
Okay, we're doing budget. I just,
Okay, all right. And we still continue to have an attorney shortage as a problem, and so we are doing everything we can to get public defenders. I attached a copy of the budget we submitted. I will say that budget, my staff puts that together early, and it has salary increases above that 3%, and so that would reduce how much we're asking for. And also,
your salary increases at 5%. That's what we ask for.
I think that they are in there at 10%.
We ask for.
So I will do that. We have reduced some things. We reduced criminal pauper non-fee. The bailiff income actually got reduced. For some reason, there was excess funds in there. This year, it was not requested by us. We did increase law books by $4,000 and postage by $3,000. So there's really only, if you take those salaries out, the salaries and that $7,000. But there's $4,000 that we've also reduced to try and offset some of that. Questions?
You know, that just makes it easier because, you know, we're going to shop. If we want us to start, you guys ought to do a budget now.
Well,
Chop it up, but if we have to, you know, 5%. I don't know. There's a couple of works.
Well, if you go back in and fix it after you set a specific number, we can do this. But once we submit them, we have to get special.
Yeah, well, we had 5, but it's all right. We'll,
Okay. I think you need.
yeah, 5.
The postage, as you know, has gone up significantly, and we use a lot of postage. We have to send, at the end of the year, we send out one piece of mail with an envelope in it with a stamp on it for jury questionnaires or however many jurors we were going to need for the year. So that's a lot of postage. We did sneak into the stamps, saving us 5 cents a stamp because they went from 73 to 78, I think is what they did. And so we try to be diligent with time and do what we can.
Well, I assume I'm looking at it right, Mary, that 23,000 over last year, approximately.
Approximately,
You had 793 for your 26 and 770.
yes. But some of that would come out with salaries.
Yeah, it'll come down pretty close to what you were last year.
When we took out, and there's another 4, like I said, that we reduced it from the copper non in an effort to try and keep copper council costs down. We sometimes stop paying them hourly to drive because we all know they're doing all the driving here on the phones and doing other stuff. So we pay the mileage, which just turned out to be much less expensive than paying them by the hour to drive. You have some people that are driving 45 minutes an hour to be for hearings and using what they do.
I was on that copper.
Did you hire a person that just does home council, or we still by the hour? Like
We do
all time.
We do by the hour, and the reason for that is that we have all of those high felony cases. And it would be very difficult for us with the amount of money we have to pay somebody enough to do just that. And it would have to be separate people from Superior Court. We try really hard not to overlap because there are quotas and contracts that they can do. And then we have all of those CHINS cases, child and youth services cases, and attorney paperwork, child and youth services cases and terminations for otherwise wasn't required to go to council because we can handle it. And that saves us money in the long run because then appeals don't get done and we don't have to go around the block again.
Basically, up.
Wages, law books, because those have gone up in postage. Are really the only thing that's gone up in our budget at all.
I have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, looks like we have circuit court probation.
Oh, so we should probably let you all know, that we have, this is when she's retired, so she's retiring September 15th. She's been counting down days for a while. Judge Welker and I, did interviews and we have hired Sandy, to be our chief probation officer, so she'll be starting here on September 16th, so she's good to go too.
In terms of the fire, Chris is going to allow me to do this, so I apologize in advance.
So get ready.
Okay, thank you.
Chris, I want to say thank you for your many years of service. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the prosecutor. Yeah, that's the prosecutor, that's child support. No, it's prosecutor, that's prosecutor. Child support salary.
Okay, we're ready.
My apologies. Oh,
And pull it up, you're getting text messages.
Can you hear me now? Sorry. I want to give you a report just on what the probation officer's caseloads look like. Chris had 157 full on her caseload. Andrea Jackson is another probation officer who does adult offenders as well. She has 162. I have juvenile offenders. I have 22, which does not sound like a lot, but juvenile cases are overwhelming. So they take a lot. You're dealing with the whole family and not one individual. And then we have Natalia Gebka, who does our pretrial release. She has 21, which also doesn't sound like a lot. Those take a lot of time as well. She'll talk to you more about that later. My biggest thing today is that when we lose Chris, the county was paying $114,984 or so for her. We have gone back and forth about needing a new probation officer, but we've also asked a lot of times for full-time staff. I think we're one of the only offices in the county, if not the only office in the county, that does not have full-time staff. I know that everyone is struggling financially. We're cutting budgets. And I would like to request again for our staff person, our office administrator, to be full-time in lieu of a new probation officer. So if we hired a new probation officer, it would cost $61,271.27. Again, I know that that is a huge ask, and so I am bypassing that and asking for our receptionist office administrator to be full-time, which would be $53,824.78, which would still decrease our budget, but give us the staff that we need. So part of the reason I'm asking for that is the three of us, Natalia, me, and Andrea, have to absorb Chris's caseload. That's 157 people that we are going to split up. While Natalia keeps the pretrial release that she's doing and I keep my juveniles, we will take on adult offenders. I know that probably doesn't sound like a big deal, but anytime you're taking on extra, obviously that makes your job more difficult. When you're working a different caseload like pretrial release or juveniles, to go back and forth between that specialized stuff and an adult offender is just more difficult. And so we are absorbing that to have staff that is there full time, so we don't have to worry about not having her on certain days would just make that a lot easier. So that is what I'm requesting today, is that in lieu of a full-time probation officer, that we would be allowed to have a full-time staff administrator.
What accounts that out of? On my paper here, I have probation, 65,000 requested, 64,000, and part-time office administrator, 25,000. I have on my paper.
The other part is taken out of adult
So the under part-time office administrator, 20,000. 5,000.
Out of the general fund, we fund the probation officer, and the part-time officers there. And then in the total 100 fund, there's another part-time officer in there. Is that person doing both of those? Is that the same person?
Right.
What they do is the auditor's office is traditionally they
Out of,
the general fund first, and then that left after they switch to the probation, adult probation.
Where is the money for supplemental adult probation?
Probation user fees, when their people are placed on probation, they're required to pay administrative fee, initial probation fee, probation fee, when they're
Almost 379,000.
should also be noted that any office that supplies
travel, education.
education, training, anything else comes out of the probation fee. So the only thing comes out of general fund is salary.
So, and obviously, it can come out of adult probation. That's our problem, the general fund. So, if we took the part-time office administrator, 25,000, and put it in supplemental adult probation, it'd be easier for us. I'm on. We have 300,000 in it, budget's 1,000. Is that possible to do that? I'm gonna note that when we get down to it.
So there's two people in the officer, probation officer, and then the average is 3,000, and also the probation, and we are requesting a full-time person.
Natalia's actually by probation.
Okay.
So there'll be 3 total.
Okay.
And the state sets those salaries, and so, the salary that is, so beginning as chief probation officer will not be the same as what Ms. Allen's getting because she's been here so long, so there'll be a reduction in that as well, it should be,
Correct.
should be,
Anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm clearly going to need it.
How many years you been here?
I hired in the county on May 5th, 1986, sheriff's department, and then I started probation on September 16th, 1995. So exactly 30 years.
So probation, do circuit court, superior court, and superior court? Those next is superior court. Yeah.
We are.
Gonna get Natasha.
Okay, good morning. I'm Crystal Coker, judge in Superior Court. I'm not going to go through all this information. I tried to come up with a way, and Katie, our navigator, assisted me this year in coming up with a way that would be easy to demonstrate to all of you without me talking for a long time what our numbers look like. So in your packets, the first thing you'll see there is the actual expenditures. I know Mr. Overmeyer likes to see those, and so I've done that. One thing I would say to you, I noticed that this came off of the state reports that we have to do every year, and they break it out a little differently than what our budget looks like. So at the bottom line there on the actual expenditures for 2024, it should be less that $26,401.78 from pettit jurors. And that's because those are accounted for down at the bottom there where it says pettit jurors and jury fees. Those go together to equal that $26,000.78. So it is less that. But those are the expenditures for 2024. You can see that compared to the approved budget for 2025. So we were really pretty close on some of those things. Of course, the only thing that has made any difference in our budget has been the amount of jury trials. And you all have heard me say that for a number of meetings now. One thing I would say, we aren't adding any additional items from our 2025 requests. We understand, of course, this is a year that we have to be very fiscally conservative, and so we've been trying to do that. The only increases really in our budget relate to those jury trials. I would also say when I was looking at my budget, for some reason it looks, and Teresa, maybe you have an answer to this, but it looks like probation is actually counted in my total. So if you look at the, yes, yeah, where it says 750, like, because mine is not that high, but it's like probation on this printout that I have anyway shows probation in my numbers. So that might be something that we need to figure out. Yes. Okay, perfect, good. I just want to make sure you guys have that. Perfect, thank you. And then you'll also see on our budget all of the grants that we have. So a couple of things. One, with regard to the number of cases, I have given you a printout there that shows you what our total number of cases are. Right now, we have 2,081 cases pending as of the second quarter of 2025. And so you can look at those cases, you can see, and I'm sorry, I have colored copies. I didn't want to spend all having color copies. It's easier to see on mine if you need. You're welcome to look at it. But it shows you the breakdown of what those criminal cases are compared to what the civil cases are that we have, and what that breakdown is. It also, there's an easier graph there at the back showing you the percentage of criminal cases that we have. I would also remind everyone that every person charged with a crime is entitled under the Constitution to a jury trial, and the court has absolutely no control over who requests a jury trial. So we don't know going into every year how many trials we are looking at. It is absolutely upon the number of people who request a jury trial. So we do our best to predict what that's going to look like. We've really worked with our schedule to try to ensure that we have at least an amount of jury trials that we can schedule for. But certain people, if they're incarcerated, have the right to have a trial within 72 days, and we have to do that. So we try to work with that every year. Also, every person after a guilty verdict has the ability to appeal that guilty verdict. So we don't know who's going to appeal and who's not going to appeal. So those are things as we're looking at our budget. Unfortunately, this year, because of the number of jury trials and appeals, I think we have one defendant in particular, $1,000, I think, on that one defendant, who it has is a special judge case. So I don't have any control. Booker doesn't have any control over that. So we're trying to, in other places, make up for those things. You can see the number of jury trials that we have. Actually, I don't think you have that. I laid out in 2026, we have 23 criminal jury trial setting days. That's not fast and speedy. So we're hoping to keep it to that. In 2025, as of yesterday evening, we had completed 13 jury trials. We still have 6 pending jury trials for criminal cases and 2 for civil trials. In 2024, we did 15 jury trials for a total of about $29,761. 2023, we did 20 jury trials. It costs about $34,087. Those costs do not include staff overtime, public defender time, or appeals that will follow. That's compared to 2022 when we had 5 jury trials, which cost only $6,107. The how many more trials we're having now compared to those things. So that's primarily where the increase in our budget comes from, because all of the things associated with those trials are more expensive now that we have more of those. Envelopes, postage, overtime, food, mileage, juror pay, all of those things have increased. So that is primarily the ask in terms of my budget. In terms of staffing, we just did the 5% increase. Those requests there. The other big ask for us is not a different ask, but it's the navigator position. I know that there's been some conversation in other budget hearings about the navigator position. I know we had a conversation with 4C here the other night about that. You can see the navigator data there. And I think it's really easy to number of people who have been seen. And so in 2025 so far, Ms. Surma has seen 827 people. Now, I think the other day I said those are not all unique. I went back and talked to her about that. But a lot of unique individuals. Every month, I require that the navigator provides me with all of her data in her work log. So I keep all of that information. Anyone can go through and see exactly what she's doing for the month, in addition to all of the people that she's seen, not their names, but the numbers, where those referrals came from, and where those referrals went to. In addition to that, she is meeting with individuals directly out of, say they have an entry or they're found guilty in a trial. She's sitting in the courtroom. And so it's the soft handoff that we get that person right into treatment. In addition to that, she also assists in our pretrial program with referrals. She assists with Earhart. She assists in our problem-solving courts, and that's family treatment court, vet court, and drug court. So all of these individuals are getting into treatment earlier. And so when you are seeing the recidivism rates from 2022 at 58.5%, going down 5% to 2024, that's as a result of her doing that. Now, why does that matter to you? It matters because those are people who are not in the jail and not costing the county $35 a day. Okay, so for instance, pretrial release program, we unfortunately lost, everyone in the state of Indiana lost their funding this year for pretrial release DOC. And so that's why Ms. Gebka is going to become a probation officer and absorb that pretrial as well, because we are required to have that. But that program alone this year had 31 successful participants. If you average those people staying in jail for a year, if they couldn't afford bail and had to wait for a trial or the case to be resolved, that equates to about $300,000 county saved in money in the jail. In addition to the fact that those cells are now free for federal inmates to come in and pay our county for that service. So that's why it matters to have these people not sitting in jail, not costing the county money. And so we try to put those into numbers. With regard to the navigator position, we are asking that the county fund it for the entire year this year. Last year, you funded it for half of the year. I know that's a big ask. And so what I did was I did an application and applied to Public Defender Commission for the misdemeanor reimbursement pilot program. They chose 12 counties. We were awarded one of those pilot county awards. And so what that means is that we're going to be receiving money now, reimbursement at 40% for misdemeanor. Never gotten that before. We estimated that out. That will end up being around the $40,000 that we need to fund the navigator. That money comes back into county general. And so that's where that money will go. And so what we're asking is that we recognize that you have to make these difficult decisions. We're asking that you use that money and fund the navigator position and allow us to continue that program now that we're actually seeing a bit of that program. Grant-funded programs, we have drug treatment court, we have veterans treatment court. You have some documents there that show you statistics. I've also included some of the jail programs, the resource guide from the navigator, but you can see the statistics for the veterans treatment court program as well as the drug court program. Drug court program was, had our full certification review on July 24th. Everything went really well. They're going to be certified for 3 years. I would also note anyone who participates in problem-solving courts is not on our probation caseload. So those participants are receiving specialized care, accountability, supervision, and that is grant funded, and they're not then put on our probation caseload. So that saves us there. We did get a grant award of $57,700 to run drug treatment court. Veterans treatment court was certified in February of 23. We will recertify in February of 25. We have overall 33 accepted that program. So far, we have 15 graduates who are coming up. I believe we're at 9 or 10 now, so we have a lot of participants in that program, and it's going really well. The thing that we've really seen benefit the county from that program is the partnerships that we've created with the ESO, with our regional VA programs. And so we're getting a lot of funding to veterans who didn't have it before. And for instance, we had one individual who not VA connected at all. He did not receive any funding from his facility. We have an individual who comes into Veterans Court. He ended up, after not getting any VA benefits, he got like $17,000 back pay, plus he gets $1,000 now a month just because we were able to connect him. We've done that for 3 or 4 of our participants now. So that's a really great aspect of that program. The Justice Partners Addiction Grant is one that funds Mr. Gerhardt.
That's a lot. Actually, what is it?
No, 1,500.
How-
No, 1,500. He received about 17,000 and then 1,500 a month. No, I wish that would be great for him, but no, 1,500. But for someone who has no food or housing or income, that's a big deal, right? Justice Partners Addiction Grant, $60,000 grant there. We have applied for that. We haven't received that yet. That's what funds Mr. Gerhardt. You're all familiar with that program, so if you have any questions, I'm happy for those things as well. One thing I would say through that program, we have been able to expand into Madeiraville. And so we have meetings there in Madeiraville now on a frequent basis that we've never had. So we have NA, we have Smart Recovery, and we have MRT, which is a virtual option for them. So we have a lot of participants in our drug court, veg court, and in our system who come from Madeiraville. And so we're trying to facilitate there as well. And that's not at a cost to the county. So again, all of these things, an effort to try to bring down those costs, mostly to our justice system and our bail. Question?
That's a lot of information.
I know, it's a lot.
I don't think I can get all that information in 2 hours. I have to hear.
I guess, Judge, with the navigator being one of the more important things you're asking for. So tell me again, where that money would come from, 40%?
Okay, so we do our Public Defender Commission reimbursement program now. Currently, we get 40% reimbursement on felonies. What I did was I applied and accepted the pilot program for the misdemeanor reimbursement, which is 40%. And when we went back and looked at all of our quarters, our estimate is that we'll get about 40% back now on those that we've never received in the past.
How much would that be?
It's about $40,000. And that's just, we did everything. Yeah, we did everything. Yeah.
How much does the navigator cost? Oh, go ahead, Jeff. I'll get my.
That's just why I think that's close. What's she make? 43, 45?
I think it's like 40,658.
43?
40,600.
40, okay.
And I would say, I know when you all were asking questions with the sheriff about the navigator programs, you know, we love to work and make sure, you know, get those programs boosted as well, because that's what's going to be best for our community. We're happy to work with them. I know they don't have a navigator program now. I don't know what their navigator program is going to look like. I don't know if that's going to be anything like what our navigator program looks like. But I can tell you the difference in our system. We have someone now who is kind of the point person for individuals. People can't come in and just talk to me. It's not allowed under my rules. They can come in and talk to Katie and say, hey, I don't know what to do about this. I don't know how to get to this treatment. And then she talks with the attorneys. She talks with courts. She talks with probation. So she's kind of that center or hub for all of those individuals to do that when they didn't have access to that before. So it's really made a big difference in getting people.
And I wasn't trying to replace your program at
Oh,
all.
no.
All I was trying to do is if she had money, I was
Yeah.
going to suggest she gives it, because I
We'll-
know everybody's happy with Katie. So.
We'll take anybody's money who wants to
Yeah,
pay for it.
that's
Yeah.
all my question was about. I want to keep Katie and all that, so I don't want anybody to think that I was trying to cut her out. My question to her was, Why do we need two? Why don't she? Her,
Well, I can tell you why we need two, and Katie could probably tell you why we need two. She's tired. She's very tired. She sees 825 people in 8 months for one person. A lot. And I can tell you, and the sheriff has probably told you, there are a lot of nights where the jail is calling her in the middle of the night, or on a weekend, I might get a call from the hospital. They can't find a bed for someone. They can't put someone for an EDO. And so I'm calling Katie and saying, I'm so sorry. And one time I think, and I said, I try never to bother people on vacation, but we had a really urgent issue. Katie stepped in from, I think you were on a cruise ship, maybe, stepped in and helped us get that person placed, and that wouldn't happen. So
I appreciate all that. I guess I want to kind of speak for us a little bit. We're looking at, we don't even know yet how much SB 1's going to affect us. We've been told it from 1.1 million to 607,000. So I personally want this to be one of them. Like Mike always says, I'm one person. Everybody has they want to see done. So. But this is a tough year. Probably I can been longer than me as far as looking at budgets, Kenny, and this is probably one of the toughest. So.
Can I say something about the navigator? So Katie is beholden to you and to the people of this county. If Fort County sets up a navigator, it's good as long as they have a grant to pay for it. And everybody's going to get referred probably to Fort County unless it's somebody that can't pay Fort County. And that's not saying anything bad about Fort County. That's the reality of what a community mental health center is. They are based on people who are Medicare and Medicaid. And so if you aren't Medicare and Medicaid, Fort County has difficulty seeing. And Katie does more than just that mental health piece that Fort County can do. And she works with the hospital here, she works with Fort County, she works with Bowen Center. And so we have a wide range. She works with people who need assistance with housing. And so it's not just mental health. And so her being an employee of the county means that she's beholden to our county and not to some other entity. And so I think that's one of the reasons she's so effective. Thank you.
just as a side note, just to tell you this, because Katie won't tell you, but the state actually has reached out and recognized her as this is one of the only programs like this. And so for us to have it, to be in a rural county, they actually recognized her at their, called NAMI, at the NAMI conference, which is the substance use health. And so she was recognized as someone that the other counties are now patterning their programs after. But Jeff, to your point, the money, that's why I did the pilot program. So that takes a lot of extra work on our part, on Abby's part, putting it together. We're willing to put that work in to get that extra money so that we can fund this because it's so important. But we recognize.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Guys want to recess this meeting? We're going to recess our meeting. Look at that